about the power of neutrality. So, we all have heard of the law of attraction. We have to keep our vibrations high. We have to keep our thinking in check, protect our thinking against negative thinking, be watchful for any kind of limiting self-talk or captain our speech. Try to make sure we're not speaking negatively. All that. And it's amazing. And it also ties into the process of using affirmations to help us blossom, right? Affirmations is super easy. It's just when, you might call it prayer or sending love or whatever you want to call it, but when you're in a quiet space and trying to really, with great intention, saying things either out loud or to yourself that are positive in nature. It can kind of be like its own prayer. Just saying or stating what you're grateful for example. But there's a thing here. And that is, I don't know really how to put it, but maybe we get a little bit too black and white about this. And I see it's like some of these affirmations, especially for people who are seeking and have struggled. I notice sometimes the affirmations, it can almost be too great of a gap to bridge. If you are really suffering and it's been an issue that's dogged you for many years, or it's just something that carries a very, very grave weight with you. What I've noticed for myself, I've hit a lot of rock bottoms. I have a lot of struggles. For myself, when I'm in a bad place, I have definitely tried to keep my thinking and my speech and even my prayers in the affirmative. But if I am really struggling, then jumping straight to something that's a 10 out of 10. On the spectrum of positivity, it falls flat. And I'll actually boomerang from doing that and even feel worse than before I started. Because it will not resonate as something that is a next step. If I am really struggling with something, it may be helpful, and it has for me, instead, to create an affirmation that seems like a reasonable, near future achievable next iteration of whatever it is you're going through, instead of jumping straight to, I'm fabulous. I'm awesome, I'm a child of God. I got this. That does not really help when you are struggling at depth. That does not help me as much as lowering that bar. To me, that actually palpably feels like less pressure, more doable. When I state something that is more in alignment, say, with neutrality. And again, if we're speaking of this as a spectrum, and you're at rock bottom with something, just try that. Try to temper your affirmations so that instead of shooting off a number of them that rank all the way over here, think instead, and it kind of draws on the whole pendulum idea too. Every pendulum swing is actually a spectrum of one continual line. Things look a lot different over here than they do over here, but it is the same. So if you're at rock bottom with something, it really isn't that hard to say, well, yeah, okay, so if I'm at rock bottom, what's the tippy top of this look like? When I was drinking, I could not stop drinking. Could not. I perceived it as bringing me a relief that was really unimaginable. but I knew it was killing me. So I'm thinking, I can't stop drinking. Well, I get it. I can see what the other end of the spectrum looks like. Okay, well that's sobriety. That's living with peace of mind. That's living in a way that I'm in control of things rather than drinking myself to oblivion all the time. I could definitely picture that. But to sit down and to affirm when I am in a blackout every day, I am sober. I am full of grace. I have total control over my drinking. I love not drinking. No. No. I hated myself so much back then. I literally would say over and over again, I'm such a piece of shit. That was what I had looping through my mind all the time. I hated the way I was living. I hated the actions I was taking. I disapproved of myself on every level, but I could not stop. And I remember no one was talking about the law of attraction back then. This is nearly 20 years ago. But I remember being in therapy, and I remember them saying, what tape do you play? Right? And I was like, oh, that's easy. I'm such a piece of shit. And I remember this. And it's so pertinent today with what I try to do. I remember them saying, well, all right, we got to change that. Reword that. Reword that so it's better. And I remember being in there with other people, and I remember them composing redrafted prayers that just sounded wildly impossible. And it got to me, and I was completely honest. I was like, I got mine. And I hung on to it. So it used to be, I'm such a piece of shit. And I adjusted it. I tuned it up just a little bit to, I am not such a piece of shit all the time. I am not such a piece of shit all the time. I'm being very honest here. I know this does not look good. But I have to tell you, that was 20 years ago, and I swear to you, just that minimal of a change absolutely opened a window where there was none. Like maybe, just maybe, it's possible to begin to live differently. I did not hop the fence entirely over to like, I love not drinking, it's amazing. No. But I did adjust it. I did tune it up a bit. And I take that to heart with all my affirmations today. Even today, if I just hop right on over to the other end of whatever spectrum it is that I'm trying to tune up, it falls so flat and I actually feel worse. So try that. Tune it up a little bit. Or even go all the way, halfway, to neutrality. What would that look like? How would you describe that? So up-tune it a bit, or aim for neutrality. Or if you're not struggling that bad, yeah, go for it. But just make sure whatever you're doing, whatever you're saying, whatever your affirmation is, that it does not sound ridiculous to your insides. That will not affect great change. It makes me feel phony and like it's never going to work. I can't get there. Not like this. All my thanks and love. Please like and subscribe. Take care.